Lyre of the Lion by TheNightNinja2, Chapter 11, Home. Mirabel was the first to find the overgrown orchard after Mariano had found the stream. Peter was trying to talk to Mariano, with little Antonio translating between them.
She's barely changed. A little angrier than she was, but I suppose growing up a second time and in a family that seems to not want her would do that to our Mirabel, said Peter. She had to be angry and imposing. Otherwise her grandmother would shove her out of the lives of everyone, said Mariano.
Suddenly there was a loud shout from Susan. They never remembered your birthday! Exclaimed the girl. Mirabel shook her head. Peter put Antonio on his shoulders and ran to where Mirabel had set up camp. The girls had been the first to speculate that these were the ruins of Cair Paravel, and upon finding one of their golden treasure chest pieces, the others had come to believe it as well. Learning the last name of the children had caused everything to click into place for Mariano. Any other questions he had would be answered in time, but he would let Mirabel catch up with her real family first. Mirabel had found a flat stone and had sliced up the apples using her sword, peeling them with an arrowhead. She had also borrowed Esmond's pocket knife to carve a large wooden bowl out of a log she had found. Filling it with water, she had soon set about making soup from bits of chicken and some edible plants that she had found. She had also shot some fish from the stream, so there was a fresh fish stuffed with herbs for each of them.
Where did you learn to forage? Asked Edmund.
Books. I've had a lot of free time in Encanto. I spent time learning whatever I could, said Mirabel.
I dare say if Mirabel wasn't here, we'd all be eating was apples, but now we have a feast, said Peter.
Mirabel beamed at the praise from her brother. Mama, I'm cold, said Antonio. Quick as a flash, Mirabel had him wrapped up in her cloak and closer to the fire. Can you watch him, Sue? I need to go wash the soup bowl out in the river, so I can use it to make cider for us to drink. It's getting cold, and I know the cider will taste better than plain water, said Mirabel. Of course. But I think when you get back, the three of us girls need to talk. We missed you a lot, Mira, said Susan, hugging her little sister tightly. Peter saw Mariano staring and walked over to him. He was seated on the other side of Antonio.
You seem confused by Mirabel. Is something wrong? Asked Peter.
I've just never seen her like this.
Openly vulnerable instead of being strong, and sometimes even feared rock, said Mariano.
I've seen Mama come home with tear tracks on her face that she washes off quickly. She never seems to guess that I know she's been crying, said Antonio. Oh, Peter, do you think we'll ever have our Mirabel back? I mean, there's no telling what the emotional damage the Madrigals have done to our sister, said Lucy.
She's back with us now, Lou. I have a feeling our Mirabel will be back by morning.
Mariano was grateful for Antonio's translations. They made him understand just how much these four cared for Mirabel. Mirabel's sword made quick work of the ivory around the treasure room door, and Mariano was both confused and intrigued by Edmund's electric torch. 16 steps. This is definitely the ruins of Cair Paravel, said Lucy. While the others reminisced, Mariano looked around at the sheer wealth hidden in these ruins of a place Mirabel once called home. Eventually, settling on taking the gifts and finding swords for Mariano and Edmund, then they realized Susan's horn was missing. That's why I never took my lyre with me when we went riding. I was terrified I'd lose it, said Mirabel, holding her beloved instrument in her hand. They all got back upstairs. A small dagger had been found for Antonio, and Mirabel was showing him how to properly use it and safely.
I don't understand what is special about these items. The tiny harper in particular.
They're magic. Mama's lyre makes good guys feel hope and courage when she plays it, and when bad guys hear it, they get scared and feel like they're doomed to die, said Antonio. Fancy some target practice in the morning, Sue? Asked Mirabel. Let's see if your aim has gotten better, laughed Susan. Your bow might not let you miss, but it's not like your magic makes you a perfect shot, Mirabel teased.
Play us something, Mirabel. The stone ground will be hard enough to sleep on, said Edmund.
Mirabel smiled and played a chord on her lyre. Mariano couldn't explain the feeling of courage that suddenly swelled within him. Mirabel's music had always been able to enchant the listener, but this was on a whole new level. His eyelids felt heavy as she played the lullaby. and he knew everything was going to be fine. Dawn came early, and they were all bitterly cold and uncomfortable, except for Mirabel and Antonio, who were snuggled together on and wrapped around Mirabel's cloak. Mirabel quickly got to work heating the cider she had made the night before, and had even found a bee's nest that she managed to extract honey from, using a smoking piece of wood and one of the golden bowls from the treasure chamber. She covered the apples in honeycomb and made an oven of sorts from hot coals and some vine leaves. Sticky apples and fish with hot cider was as good as breakfast as they could have hoped for. Susan was braiding Mirabel's hair, and the girls were chatting about their lives. Antonio knew his mama needed time with her family, so he went to hang out with Uncle Peter and Mr. Mariano, who were becoming good friends despite the language barrier. "I've never seen her smile this much, and hearing her laugh is such a rarity," said Mariano.
Really? Here in Narnia, she was a bundle of giggles, and her smile lit the castle every morning as she danced through the halls or gossiped with our friends. She was only serious when she needed to be, to play the part of the princess like she was. She ruined so many shoes by dancing the nights away, got drunk, became the life of many feasts. She was the light of Narnia, our flame of hope, said Peter.
Back in Encanto, she still dances, but those are the only times she's really happy. She needed to be serious and act like the princess I now know she is, in order to be noticed and listened to, said Mariano.
Other than Antonio here, is there any of her family that she's close to? Asked Edmund.
Just her sister Louisa. Poor girl's gift is strength, which makes her family and the town use her like a workhorse. Mirabel had to threaten her grandmother with her sword, just so Louisa could take some days off to spend time learning to sword fight. Mirabel is always fighting for her sister's right to take a break, said Mariano. I got my gift just before we came here. I can talk to animals, said Antonio proudly.
Here in Narnia, many animals talk, but if we find one that we can't understand, we'll get you. I have a feeling we'll need you a lot, just like we need your mama, said Peter, ruffling the little boy's hair. Mama missed you all a lot. Did you miss her? Asked Antonio. Every day. Your mama is very special and loved dearly by all of Narnia. Mariano, did they really forget her birthday every year? I heard Susan's explanation, but... Seriously? Even her own parents forgot? Asked Edmund. I am afraid so. She only got a few gifts on her 15th. A sword from her sister, her armor from me, Antonio got her a necklace, and the seamstress got her a small cake. It wasn't even close to the party she deserved. And it was just over 2 months ago, said Mirabel. I don't know much about Hispanic countries, but I thought a girl's 15th birthday is a big deal, said Peter. It's supposed to be. A girl's quince is part of her coming of age, sighed Mariano. We should throw her a party. I remember when she turned 16 here in Narnia, it was the year suitors could officially make offers to court her since she was considered of age. It was a really big deal. So many people from Narnia and beyond tried to win her heart, but she never found anyone she wanted to be with. The guys watched as the girls talked. Then Lucy did something that made Mirabel start chasing her down the river. Susan ran after the two girls, laughing. Mariano saw Peter and Edmund smile at the antics of the three girls. There were two shrieks of laughter as Susan managed to push her sisters into the river. Susan is so much more open-minded and fun when Mirabel is around. Granted, everyone has fun when Mirabel is around, said Edmund. Remember when Mirabel had too much wine and began to river dance on the table at your 18th birthday, Peter? Then her handmaids joined her, and soon enough the whole castle was dancing along to her drunken song of your great deeds? Asked Edmund. How could I forget how much got broken? Always the life of the party was our Mirabel, said Peter. She once ruined 3 pairs of silk dancing slippers in a single night, torn to shreds from her crazy steps on the rough stone courtyard, as music from both the band and her lyre filled the air. Her face flushed with wine and dancing. Edmund laughed. The girls came back, dripping wet, and Mirabel was grinning ear to ear. We should figure out how to get off this island. If it really has been hundreds of years, that would explain why Cair Paravel is now on an island instead of a peninsula, said Peter. I think the first thing needed is to get these three dried off. Our dear little sister's mischievous side seems to have reared its head once more, said Edmund. Mirabel stuck her tongue out at him. Mamma, don't be mean to Uncle Edmund, exclaimed Antonio, making all 5 Pevensies crack up laughing. There was little laughter as they rescued the dwarf from the men trying to drown him. Susan shot an arrow at the helmet of one of them. Mirabel wasn't so kind and hit the other in the shoulder with her own arrow. Then she pulled out her lyre and played a chord. The men fled. Ghosts and the beat of an executioner's drum was more than enough to terrify them. That, and before them they saw a young woman dressed in fire and lit by the sun, another arrow aiming for them. Once the men were out of range and the dwarf was freed, Mirabel got to work gathering more fish and herbs. There was a tale that needed telling, and the dwarf was hungry. Edmund did not want to give up his hat to carry the cleaned fish, but Mirabel found some sturdy reeds and grasses and wove them into a basket to carry it all in. The dwarf looked surprised at the skill and intelligence of the young lady. She had the air of old Narnia about her, as if she was conjured by the deep magic of legend. They all sat around the fire to hear the dwarf tell the tale of Caspian the 10th, Antonio translating for Mirabel. Oh, bother, this won't do forever, muttered Susan, before Mirabel remembered the pendants they had been given her first days in Narnia. She rushed down to the treasure room, blazing stick in hand, and came back with a single pendant that she placed around Mariana's neck. That should do until we can teach you English, said Mirabel. We should have thought of that much sooner, said Peter. Our Mirabel has always been the smartest of all of us. Did you say Mirabel? As in Princess Mirabel the Caring? Narnia's Light? The bard of the Great Lion? Asked the dwarf. That's me, said Mirabel. She was standing over the fire. By the lion's mane! What? Gasped the dwarf. Figures it would be Mirabel recognised first, smirked Peter. We will discuss identities later. Please continue your tale, Master Dwarf, said Mirabel. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Oh, I'm loving this. Mirabel's settling into her own skin, and you can just see the effect she has. It's brilliant, and I love how indignant they are about her birthday being forgotten. I mean, if those 4 went to the Encanto, oh boy, Abuela would be having arrows outlining her entire silhouette, wouldn't she? Not even a millimetre from her skin. Ah! Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video, okay? Take care. Bye!